Hello, everybody. Today we will be diving into the next episode of The Witcher Netflix, episode 4. This episode marks the halfway point of the series, and I'm really excited to talk about it. If you don't know who I am, maybe you just stumbled across my videos for the first time. Hi, my name is Matchtech. I really like The Witcher, and I make a lot of videos about the series. Right now, I am going through each episode of The Witcher Netflix, and kind of just doing a little deep dive into every episode, talking about the things that I observed, the things that I liked, and just having an overall discussion and breakdown of each episode. So let's go ahead and dive into episode 4 of Banquets, Bastards, and Burials.
Follow me.
This episode starts out with Ciri's timeline, where we see her finally enter into the forests of Brokilon. And I've talked about this in previous videos a little bit, my overall thoughts on the whole Brokilon interpretation in the show. And like many others, I'm not the biggest fan for a number of different reasons. First of all, I'm okay with the way they look. I think that the Dryads in the books are a little too mystical, I think, for a show like this. Like, it might actually break the realism of it and look a little too ridiculous, because they're basically like green nymphs. They're basically green nymphs. So I like the way that they're depicted here. Though I think one of the big things about the Dryads is that they are all archers, and in the books and the stories, the Dryads are always talked about how they have really great aim. When people enter and exit the forest, like, you will probably get killed because, you know, bows and arrows honing in on you, you're dead. I'm not trying to super nitpick here, because I don't think that a show like this deserves to be nitpicked, because it is an adaptation. But it did kind of bother me. They didn't really get into any of the history of the Dryads in the show, which I think maybe that would just be too much to go into, because they have a whole story of the forests of Brokilon, drinking the waters of Brokilon, becoming a Dryad. There are some humans who essentially become Dryads. So they didn't really get into the whole story of the Dryads and who they are. And it was just kind of glossed over. So after that, we do get into Geralt's timeline a little bit here with Jaskier. And as many have said, the dialogue between the two of them is just always on point in this series, and it's really great. I find it interesting that the way the show got Geralt to go to Sintra and go to this banquet is different from how it was in the books. In the books, I believe Geralt got an invite from Queen Calanthe herself. But in the show, Jaskier is the one who gets an invite to this banquet and invites Geralt kind of as a bodyguard.
Right, so stick close to me, look mean, and pretend you're a mute. Can't have anyone finding out who you actually are.
Geralt of Rivia, the mighty Witcher!
Oh, shit.
I haven't seen you since the plague.
Good times, Malsack.
I've missed your sour complexion. I feared this would be a dull affair, but now the White Wolf is here, perhaps all is not lost. Why are you dressed like a sad silk trader?
So basically, the whole start of this entire story is different from how it was in the books, but I absolutely love it. I love Geralt's interactions with Malsack here. I love the way the whole banquet is displayed. I think they did a really great job with this, and I was just a big fan. So episode 3, episode 4, even into the next few episodes, I think the middle of this series is really the strongest for me. The episodes that I enjoyed the most. And I think the reason of that is because these are really important stories to Geralt, and I enjoyed watching these stories on, in show version. I've read the stories in the books, and actually being able to watch them in show version and how the show adapted these stories, the Geralt stories specifically, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. So the Strigo one last episode, and then this one of the banquet with Pavetta, it was just a really cool experience to watch it, knowing what's going to happen and knowing the basic plot and everything. I just was really excited to see how they would do it. And enter Queen Calanthe, who is the star of the show in this episode, in my opinion. Again, Queen Calanthe, in my mind, has always been more of an elegant queen who has a sharp tongue and knows how to negotiate a situation and is a total badass. The way they have her in this show is just so good. Oh my gosh. Her entire presence when she enters the room is just really captivating. The actress just did a tremendous job, and I've talked about this many times. Also, the Pavetta actress also was really, really great. Exactly how I would have pictured Princess Pavetta here. I also find this dialogue kind of interesting, where we get a little bit of the conversation between Pavetta and Calanthe, where Pavetta's talking about how Sintra has slaughtered elves and done horrible things, and she's basically saying you have to tough it up. This is your job, your responsibility as princess. To me, it still shows that there is this political situation going on, and that is a major point in the entire series. So obviously we follow the story of Geralt and Ciri and Yennefer, but there is a huge political situation going on. And I think one thing that the show doesn't do quite well just yet is really showing multiple sides of the story here. The things that I have understood from The Witcher is it's not really a black and white of morality, of who's the good guy versus who's the bad guy. All of these kingdoms, all of these people, all of the characters we meet, none of them are really the epitome of morality. Nilfgaard also is kind of being shown as a big bad evil, but there's one scene in this banquet that shows you may feel just a little bit of remorse. So it's this scene here, actually, where they talk again a little bit about the background of Nilfgaard, and they're all like taunting him, and you get maybe just feel a little bit bad for this guy. But that's the thing that I think that they needed to do a little bit more for the show, and they may do it later on, but showing that there are two sides to every story. I didn't catch as much in my first watch through, but I am getting these little lines of dialogue that some of the characters are saying that makes you kind of realize that they're trying to have these nods to the morality issue within the universe of not everybody here is the perfect good guy kingdom. We've all done some messed up stuff. So Yennefer's little side story that they have in this episode, I don't have too much to say about it. I think that it was a good setup for this character development of Yennefer, where essentially we see her as this strong, hardened, powerful sorceress who doesn't take shit from anybody. Yennefer's doing what she can to help her, and she's still being rather ungrateful, this woman. And Yennefer's like, yeah, I ain't taking any of that shit. And so we kind of see her as a bit more of a powerful yet independent sorceress. And then it leads to us seeing that there's something about her deep down that she wants a child. And this is the beginning of us seeing that, which is an accurate depiction of how it is in the books as well, for anybody who might not have read the books. Yennefer does mention many times that she does want a child, and this is something she can't do as a sorceress, and she wants something that was taken away from her. And this here is where we get one of the most important, crucial moments in the whole setting up of the Witcher story, is this invoking the law of surprise between Duny and Pavetta, and that would eventually lead to Ciri being born. I was always fascinated by this story in the books, and I think that you can interpret it from watching the show, but you have to just think about it for a second. How this show talks about destiny so much, and this is all of destiny happening as we were watching. Duny and Pavetta fell in love. Fate for them to fall in love. Geralt invoking the law of surprise later on, and Pavetta being pregnant with Ciri. This is destiny right here. This is some destiny shit happening right here. And later on, Emir var Emrys becomes Emperor of Nilfgaard, and he wants Ciri, and for his own reasons. And he can't have her because Ciri belongs to Geralt based on the law of surprise. That's his daughter, essentially. Not even though Emir is the rightful daughter of Ciri. So this is just setting up this amazing story in my mind. And this whole banquet sets up this incredible, incredible story. And also, all of the people, and also many people here in this banquet, Iced, Mousak, basically a lot of them, not Geralt though, they all take the law of surprise so seriously. The law of surprise is such an important thing within the Witcher universe, and it's, when I first heard of the law of surprise, I didn't fully understand it. I was like, okay, so you basically just take what you have but you don't know yet, and it's such a weird concept, but it's made a lot more sense to me, and it seems to be a very sacred tradition that people take very seriously in this dark fantasy medieval-esque world of The Witcher. So it's essentially this law that us in modern times may think is really stupid, but most people take very seriously. Anybody who believes in destiny, which is something that a lot of people in this world believe in, when law of surprise is invoked, everybody is hands off, okay, we're taking this really seriously. But you could see not everybody believes in that. Calanthe is no, I am not falling for this destiny stuff. And throughout all of the show, Geralt always says, I don't care about destiny. Destiny is nothing. You as a viewer can make your own interpretations. Is all of this destiny? Is it coincidence? Is Geralt right that we shouldn't really give a crap about destiny? Or are the people in this world right that this law of surprise that is so important and all of these talks of destiny, is that really something that we should be believing in this world? And here we see this, oh my gosh, this amazing scene that is such an iconic scene of Pavetta using her power at this banquet, this extremely strong power that we also see in her daughter, Ciri. They got this elder blood power that is so strong, and I think this scene was pretty cool. It was a little I think at this point it was a little cheesy. I don't think they were really levitating in the book. I don't remember this, but it's just kind of showing that this is a really strong power that she's harnessing, and she does not want her love, Duny, to be killed. And after all of this, Queen Calanthe gives her blessing, and the curse is broken, and we see Duny for who he really is, or Lord Urchin for who he really is. And then here's the big icing on the cake part of the story, where Geralt, almost ironically, after all of this talk of destiny, invokes the law of surprise on Duny, who owes him his life, basically. And Geralt's doing this kind of yeah, okay, how about I invoke the law of surprise? Because he thinks it's total crap, you know? Meanwhile, ding, 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 Pavetta's pregnant. And just Geralt's reaction here is so good. It's just so great. Geralt realizes what's going on, and he's just done. So like I said, I really love this story because it brings a whole different part of the Witcher world, where there's politics, there's monsters and fighting, there's adventuring, and then there's more of this mystical talk of destiny, which I think makes the story even deeper, that it's not just a flat story of Geralt's adventures, and it's not just a flat story of the politics of the world, but there's something else that could be at play here. This whole destiny, law of surprise thing, the fates, what they decide in this world. And I think that can leave you as a viewer to think about what it all means for this world. So that's about it for what I really wanted to talk about with this episode. I know I brought a lot of this destiny talk up, which there's a lot of jokes about how much it's actually brought up in the show, but I do think it's a really important topic, and this particular episode is one of the epitomes of it, because it's really the inception of all of this talk of destiny and where it all started. Overall, I really like the episode. Like I said, I think they did the Geralt story really well. The Yennefer one was really more of a side thing. Same thing with Ciri. Like the two other timelines were kind of more side things for this episode, and the real highlight of it was the Pavetta Geralt story. So that's really what I wanted to talk about the most, because it is a really, really great story in the books as well. And I highly encourage anybody to read A Question of Price in the Last Wish book, because it's a really, really good one. So let me know your thoughts on this episode below. I am trying to make these little breakdown episodes a little bit shorter. I'm trying not to make it more than like 13 minutes. So we'll see if this particular episode went over 13 minutes. Thanks, guys. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.